First at 9. Headlines.
Good evening and welcome. You're with News First, your number one news provider. I'm Shamir Rasuldin.
And I'm Nicola D'Souza. We start off with a look at tonight's headlines.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa arrives in Nepal for the SAARC summit. Time will decide changes that should occur. A statement from common candidate Maithripala Sirisena. Senior Minister Sarath Amarugama comments on the presidential election campaign.
දැන් අපි සැලසුම් කරනවා තුන්වෙනි එක මහින්ද චින්තනය 20යි 22 දක්වා. ඒ තරම් අපි ශක්තිමත් අපි විශ්වාසයි. දැන් අපි මේ සැලසුම ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා.
UK's House of Lords discusses upcoming presidential election and the blocking of MTV channels.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa arrived in Nepal today ahead of the 18th SAARC summit that is taking place in Kathmandu from the 25th to the 27th of November.
The presidential media unit reported that the president departed for Lumbini, the birthplace of Lord Buddha, upon his arrival in Nepal. The SAARC summit will begin tomorrow when the inaugural session will take place. All heads of state of SAARC will also take part in the retreat on Thursday before attending the closing session that afternoon. President Rajapaksa is also expected to hold bilateral meetings with the heads of states who are participating in the 18th SAARC summit.
Mahinda Desha praised the Elections Commission and he says he will resign from his position if foreign reports indicate that past elections have not been free and fair. He made this statement at a media briefing convened at the Elections Secretariat this morning.
According to the 2014 electoral list, 15,044,490 people are eligible to vote at the upcoming presidential election. The Gampha district has the highest number of registered voters, with the number standing at 1,637,537. The Wanni electorate, comprising parts of the Mena, Vaunia and Mullaitivu districts, has the lowest number of registered voters, with the number standing at 253,058.
We have a problem with identification, where the NIC numbers of about 1 million people are not in the electoral list. In truth, about 300,000 or 400,000 have the NICs, but the numbers have not been listed. So the number who do not have NICs reduces to 500,000 or 600,000. Votes cannot be cast without valid identification, and we believe the number who do not have any valid identification is about 100,000. The temporary identification we issued for the provincial council elections in 4 parts will be valid, so the number reduces further to about 300,000.
Applications for postal voting are being accepted at present, with the deadline for submissions being the 4th of December. Postal voting will take place on the 23rd and 24th of December. Election papers will be distributed on the 28th of December and on Christmas Day on the 25th of December.
There are 3 primary institutions who deploy observers. They are the United Nations, the European Commission and the Commonwealth. There is also the Asian Election Authorities Association in Asia and the South Asian Election Management Chiefs Forum in South Asia. We hope to secure observers from these 4 institutions which have worked with us thus far.
පොදුරාජ මණ්ඩලීය නියෝජිතයෝ කියලා තියෙනවා නම් ඒ ඡන්ද විසීම සාධාරණ නැහැ කියලා මම හෙට ඉල්ලාස් වෙනවා. අද ඔබතුමා මොන ඇරගලෝ විදියට කියන්නේ මේ ඔහුගේ දේවල් කරගන්න බැරිවෙච්ච නිසා කලකිරිලා. නෑ කිසිම කලකිරීමක් නැහැ මම කලකිරෙන්නේ.
Maithripala Sirisena says that his party membership and position as General Secretary of the SLFP have not been stripped legitimately. He made this comment subsequent to offering floral tributes at the Bandaranaike Memorial.
Subsequent to announcing that he would contest as the opposition's common candidate in the upcoming presidential election, Maithripala Sirisena paid floral tributes at the Bandaranaike Memorial in Horagolla today. A group including former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga were present at the event.
මං අදත් ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ ලේකම්වරයා. මාව
I am the General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. My party membership and my position as the General Secretary was stripped off illegally. I haven't crossed over to the United National Party. We are forming an alliance for a common goal. Some ask us where are the others who said they would cross over. What I could say is that the best is left for last. I pledged to the entire country that I would bring about social change, abolish the executive presidency and bring about change in this corrupt electoral system. The presidential election is scheduled to take place on the same day we commemorate the birthday of late Bandaranayake. I wish to say to people of this country that I do not represent only the common alliance but the entire country.
දේශපාලන පක්ෂයක පුද්ගලෙක් විදියට නෙවෙයි පොදු සංවිධාන විදියට රටේ සියලු පොදු ජනතාව වෙනුවෙන් මම පෙනී හිටින්නේ.
Former President Chandrika Bandaranayake Kumartunga expressed the following views.
They have stolen everything possible. They say it's a Western conspiracy. They need to tell the people what exactly the Western conspiracy is.
The president is speaking of files. If he has files, why has he kept them suppressed for so long? I call on the president and the government to please release these files if they have them. It does not matter whether they are files of people who crossed over or people who are still there. If the president can say such a thing as the head of state, it shows how much the country has deteriorated because they are keeping files on the ministers in the country and attempting to control them.
Deputy Minister of Finance Dr. Sarath Amunugama says that the President's plan for the presidential poll will be presented to the public as Mahinda Chintane towards 2022. He made this comment at a media briefing today.
The media briefing convened by the UPFA today saw the participation of Ministers Dr. Sarath Amunugama, Dilan Pereira, Mahinda Amaravira and Lalit Disanayake.
දැන් බලන්න අපි 2005 ඉඳන්
From 2005 to 2010, it was the Mahinda Chintane. From 2010 to 2015, it was the Mahinda Chintane vision for the future. These are not things that happen suddenly. These are planned and then taken forward. We are now planning the third, that is the Mahinda Chintane 2022. We believe that we are strong. That is why we are planning such things. The third phase is the combination of the Mahinda Chintane future vision and the vision for 2022. When we unveil this, you will be able to see that we have been taking this economic development forward since 2005.
ආර්ථික සංවර්ධන ප්‍රවාහය ඉදිරියට යනවා.
මම දන්න විදියට නම් මේ මෛත්‍රීපාල ඇමතුමත් එක්ක
I would like to tell them to try and keep those who crossed over with Maithripala. Some are showing signs of coming back.
නැවත ගමන් එන්න වගේ උත්සාහයකුත් තියෙනවා කියලා කොහා කියනවා. අවුරුදු ලඟුණා කොහා කියනවා වගේ කොහා කියනවා. දැන් කියනවා හොඳ හොඳ සෙල්ලම් එළිවෙ දැන් ඉතින් එළි වෙලානේ. තව මොකද එළි වෙන්න තියෙන්නේ? දැන් තියෙන්නේ දවල් වෙන්න. දැන් රෑ ඉවරයි එළි වෙලා. දැන් තියෙන්නේ දවල් වෙන්න තියෙන්නේ.
If they do not see this light, they are always in the dark.
The Jathika Hela Urumaya notes that they will engage in a genuine discussion on pledging support to the common candidate in the coming days. General Secretary of the JHU, Partali Champika Ranawaka, noted that the party is committed to upholding the unitary nature of the state.
General Secretary of the Jathika Hela Urumaya, Partli Champika, called on the Chief Prelate of the Amarapura Mahasangha Sabha, Most Venerable Daul Dinanyani Sarathera. Champika Ranawaka said that several points, including the party's policies, were brought to the attention of the Mahanayaka.
අපි දැක්කා කැසිනෝ දෙකක් කොළඹ නගරයේ සම්බුද්ධාලෝක විහාරයේ ඉදිරිපිට
We saw the consequences that the Buddhist community had to undergo when there were attempts to open up casinos by the government opposite the Bauddhaloka temple, although the Mahanayakas were against the decision. Our party is geared up to unite this country. Whether the President, Secretary of Defense and the commanders of the forces have the power or not, we are ready to unite the country. If attempts are being made to punish them for eradicating terrorism, one does not need to be troubled about it. We would not allow persons like Suren Sumandiran to control the presidential election as they please.
සුරේන් සුරන්දිරම්ලට ඕන ඕන විදිහට මේ ජනාධිපති වර්ණේ නටවන්න අපි ඉඩ තියන්නේ අපි තාම සාකච්ඡාවක්
We have not held discussions as yet. However, we are hoping to carry out extensive discussions. We need to have an understanding on what sort of political policy it would be and how it would be implemented.
ලබා ගන්න උත්සාහ කරනවා.
The United Bhikkhu Front and the United National Bhikkhu Front held a joint media briefing today. Both groups pledged their unconditional support to the common opposition candidate at the upcoming presidential poll.
එතුමා බලයට පත් වෙලා 3 මාසයක් ඇතුළත මේ විධායක ජනාධිපති ක්‍රමය අහෝසි කිරීමට එවැගේම අක්‍රීය තියෙනා වූ සියලු කොමිෂන් ක්‍රියාත්මක කිරීම.
He stated that he will abolish the executive presidency and revive all of the inactive commissions within 3 months of coming into power. So today, the Mahasangha have listened to his requests, and the United Bhikkhu Front and the United National Bhikkhu Front together decided at the meeting held this morning to pledge the support of all organizations and all parties to ensure his victory. As the Mahasangha, we make a request of all the people to rally around Maithripala Sirisena, who has come forward as the candidate, and to support him to bring this country back from the crevice it has fallen into.
මේ රට මේ වැටිලා තියෙන ප්‍රපාතයෙන් ගොඩ ගැනීම සඳහා එක්වන්න රොක්වන්න කියා ජනතාවගෙන් ඉල්ලීමක් මහා සංඝරත්නය විසින් අපි අද මේ සිදු කරනු ලබන්නේ.
ජනාධිපති ක්‍රමයේ මුළුමනින්ම වෙනස් කරන්න ඕන. ගේ ඇතුළෙන්ම පොදු අපේක්ෂක දැන් ඉදිරියට ඇවිල්ලා තිබෙනවා. මේ යන ගමනට තිත තියන්න ඕන.
The presidential system must be changed completely. Now the common candidate has come forward. This journey must be stopped at once. This journey that the country is being taken on must end. So the people must act intelligently. The poor of the people cannot be disregarded. When we have seen what has happened to dictators, and we need not speak of it further. Dictatorship is not eternal. We have seen what has happened to those who became dictatorial after being elected democratically. At present, the path to abolishing the dictatorship in this country has been paved for us.
පාලනයන් ගෙන ගිය පුද්ගලයෝ ගැන අපි දන්නවා. ඒ වගේ දැන් මේ රටේ පවතින මේ ආඥාදායකත්වයත් අපිට අහෝසි කිරීමේ මාර්ගය පෑදිලා තිබෙනවා.
රජයේ පාර්ශ්වයෙන් කතා කරන අපි දැක්කේ එල්ලාවල මේ දානන්ද හාමුදුරුවෝ වගේ ඔය සඳිසු සෑය ධාතු සම්පත් කරන අවස්ථාවේදී පවා ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේලා 6000ක් සෙත් පිරිත් සත්‍යයනා කළ ජනාධිපතිතුමාට සෙත් සාන්තියක් වෙන්න කියලා ඉදිරියටත් ජනාධිපති වෙන්න කියලා ලොකු මේ
When you have power, there is nothing you cannot do. Even I sent 8 monks for that meritorious deed. Sent me 5 letters. The police came and asked us to save their jobs. An OIC came and told me that he was under great stress and that I must help him. Even though we are opposed to it, we are humane.
MP Perumal Rajadurai, who resigned from the ruling UPFA, participated at a media briefing convened at the UNP headquarters today and explained the reasons behind his departure.
නුවරඑළිය දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ නියෝජනය කරන රාජදුරේ මන්ත්‍රීතුමා අපේ දිලිප් වෙදාරච්චි මන්ත්‍රීතුමා එක්ක ආවා.
Newsfirst.lk district MP Rajadurai came to meet me with MP Dilip Vedarachi and said he wishes to join the UNP and support the campaign of common candidate Maithripala Sirisena. He has a special enthusiasm to uplift the standard of living and the education of the Tamil people. We discussed these matters. Tomorrow at Sirikota, he will be appointed a district organizer.
අධ්‍යාපන තත්ත්වය දියුණු කරන්න ඒව ගැන අපි සාකච්ඡා කරා. ඒ නිසා දැන් එතුමා හෙට සිරිකොතේදී එතුමාගේ දිස්ත්‍රික්ක සංවිධායකකම් පත්වීමත් ලබා දෙනවා.
එක්සත් ජනතා නිදහස් සන්ධානයෙන් තමයි මම පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට තේරීපත් වුණේ 2010. අවුරුදු 3ක් විතර මම ලංකා කම්කරු කොංග්‍රසයේ හිටියා. එතන
I was elected to Parliament in 2010 via the UPFA. I was with the Ceylon Workers' Congress for about 3 years. There were differences of opinion there. Since they did not listen to what I was saying, I was forced to leave the party and work independently. There is another party called the National Workers' Front, which is MP Digambaran's party. I went to that party and supported them during the provincial council election. 3 councillors were elected from the party. Since then, for about 8 months, I have been functioning as an independent MP.
ඊට පස්සේ දැන් මාස 8ක් විතර ස්වාධීන මන්ත්‍රී කොරස් තමයි මම කටයුතු කරන්නේ.
දිගම්බර මන්ත්‍රීතුමත් එක්ක ඉඳලා යන්නේ.
මම දිගම්බර මන්ත්‍රීතුමත් එක්ක මට මීට මාස 4-5ක් තමයි හිටියේ.
I was with MP Digambaran for only 4 or 5 months. We have a certain political vision. Certain people promise us that our vision will be fulfilled. We accept the promise and then join them. When we go there and something else happens, and when a conflict arises between our vision and theirs, it is natural to leave. I had to leave because there was no space for my vision there.
ගැටුමක් ඇති වෙනකොට එතනින් ඉවත් වෙන එක ස්වභාවිකයි. ඒ හින්දා මගේ දර්ශනයට එතන ඉඩ නැති නිසා මට එතන ඉවත් වෙන්න සිද්ධ වුණා.
වෙන වැඩ කියලා පුතුමා හිතුනේ මොනවා ටිකම්බර
මම මගේ මිනිසුන්
I entered politics having identified the needs of my people. I too have a vision regarding which path should be taken to win our people's rights.
You're with News First. 6 suspects, including Minister Mervyn Silva's son, Malcolm Silva, have been further remanded until the 28th of this month, as per the orders issued by Colombo Additional Magistrate M. Shahabdeen today.
The suspects were arrested on charges of attacking a British couple in Bambalapitiya recently. Even though the suspects were brought to court at 1:30 p.m. as rescheduled by court earlier in the day, the identification parade was postponed for a later date as the witnesses in the case failed to appear in court for the hearing. Noting that the witnesses should be granted a later date to identify the suspects, the magistrate rejected the request made by the lawyer representing the respondents to quash the identification parade. In 1970, I'm the one who came with the first parliament of Mahinda Rajapaksa from Beliatta, and I will go when he goes. There is no conspiracy here. Many people are speculating about a number of conspiracies.
මම රුහුණේ ගොඩේ මිනිහෙක් කැටියට
කුසාවි කේස් තියෙනවා අද කවදාරි මේ අපිත් පෙව්වන්නේ
Following the incident, Minister Mervyn Silva expressed these views to the media. There is no need for all this commotion. We can sort this out in a just manner. There is no conspiracy.
මට නෙවෙයිනේ කිව්වේ ඒ මටත් අසාධාරණයක් කරනවා කියලා ඒගොල්ලෝ කියන්නේ ඒගොල්ලෝ කිව්වේ මේම දැන් මටත් දැන් ඕගොල්ලෝ මම කිව්වේ මේ කුමන්ත්‍රණයක් තියමුද කියලා
Although the suspects were in court again by 1:30 this afternoon, the identification parade was postponed because the witnesses weren't present at the time.
මට ලොකු ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා අපි තාම
I have a big problem. That is whether we are still a colony under the reign of Britain. In the Bracegirdle case, when Bracegirdle came to Sri Lanka and spoke for the case, the British judge granted bail. Today the problem is this. Foreigners are there, but foreigners don't come. When he doesn't turn up, not even a warrant is issued. The reason for all of this is that the defendant is Mervyn Silva's son.
මේ විත්තිකාරයා මර්වින් සිල්වාගේ පුතා වීමයි.
In other local news, a meeting of the UNP took place last evening in Moratuwa.
It is after they come into power that the promises given to the people are fulfilled. But I can tell you with joy and pride that we have changed that culture starting from Hambantota. In Hambantota, we don't stay until we receive that power. We don't stay until we receive deputy ministerial or chief ministerial portfolios. We don't stay until we become the prime minister or president.
වකුටු වෙලා නිදි කිරිකිර බලාගෙන ඉන්න අනේ මම ප්‍රේමදාසගේ පුතා මගේ උකුල උඩට ජනාධිපතිකම වැටෙයිදෝ කියලා හීනමවමින් ඉන්නේ නැහැ. අපි මිත්‍රවරුනි රාජ්‍ය බලය ඇතුවත් හෝ නැතත්
My dear friends, with or without power, I can proudly say that like the government, the UNP too has worked in the President's district.
Our carpenters in Moratuwa supplied furniture to the nation. To my knowledge, there are an estimated 20,000 families in the Moratuwa electorate that depend on the carpentry industry. Now, I need to clearly state that for a problem to arise with the carpentry permit and for them to bring cheaper furniture from distant provinces, someone is definitely taking commissions here. When these carpenters try to protest peacefully, they are assaulted. This is the democracy that this country has. This is the way the government treats the people.
Some of you would have expected us to defeat the budget. No, we didn't defeat it. We will not defeat this government today, but on the 8th of January. By then, if 3 or 4 people cross over on a weekly basis, we would have around 35 members. I can proudly say that they have already given us their word on that.
Representatives of several media institutions met with the Elections Commissioner today.
The meeting took place this evening at the Election Secretariat. Discussions were held with the Commissioner regarding the media coverage for the upcoming presidential elections.
විශේෂයෙන් රාජ්‍ය මාධ්‍ය ආයතන මේවා හිතූ මතේ විශේෂයෙන් දේශපාලන පක්ෂ
Throughout history, we have seen how the political parties in power arbitrarily use the state media in an improper fashion. We said that special attention must be paid to this via the Public Assets Act at least. We saw how Sirius TV was blocked and the Satna program disrupted. The people's opportunity to view that program was deprived. We proposed that he exercise his powers under the Elections Act to the fullest during the presidential elections in order to ensure balance in the media coverage.
විශේෂයෙන්ම ජනමාධ්‍ය හැසිරීම සමතුලිතත්වයෙන් පවත්වාගෙන යන්නට තමයි අපි යෝජනා කළේ.
18 වන ආණ්ඩුක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථාව යටතේ ඔව් යම් සීමා කිරීමකට ලක් වෙලා තියෙනවා.
Certain limitations have been imposed on him and the Department of Elections by the 18th Amendment to the Constitution. He said, therefore, that he would only take certain steps with regard to the Rupawahini Corporation and the Broadcasting Corporation. However, we pointed out to him that they are public assets and that state resources cannot be used for the promotion of any candidate. Therefore, we told him that he should exercise his power even in terms of other media institutions owned by the government.
රජයට අයත් අනිකුත් ජනමාධ්‍ය ආයතනත් මේ සම්බන්ධ වුණු පියවරක් ඔබගේ බලතලයට ගත යුතුයි කියලා.
The Sri Lanka National Front, convening a press conference today, commented on the disruptions caused to the transmission of Sirius TV recently.
නිලධාරියෙක් ක්‍රියාකලාපයේ සම්බන්ධව කතා කළ යුතුමයි. මම හිතන්නේ මෙතන සිරස මාධ්‍ය ජාලේ ඉන්නවා. ඔවුන්ගේ
We need to speak about their procedures. I think the Sirius Media Network, they broadcast a program called Satana. Members of the common opposition were present, including Maithripala Sirisena. During that time, there were disruptions to the transmission of the program. I watched the entire program and the repeat telecast. You need to watch it. I request the Sirius Media Network to broadcast the program once again. Because if the people listen to what was said in the program, I doubt President Mahinda Rajapaksa will be able to do things. We wish to express our sympathy to the Sirius Media Network.
මම හිතන්නේ මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ ජනාධිපතිතුමාට තව ගොඩක් දේවල් කරන්න වෙයි කියලා. විශේෂයෙන්ම අපි සිරස මාධ්‍ය ජාලයට අපේ පක්ෂයේ කනගාටු වෙලා හොදට ප්‍රසිද්ධනවා.
The upcoming presidential election and the blocking of MTV channels on Saturday were discussed in the UK's upper house of Parliament, the House of Lords, last afternoon. The discussion was initiated when Lord Nesbai, who is the chairman of the all-party parliamentary group on Sri Lanka, asked the House of Lords what action they are taking in response to the European Court of Justice verdict on October 16th to delist the LTTE.
Lord Naseby.
My Lords, I beg leave to ask a question standing in my name on the order paper, and in doing so declare an interest as chairman of the all-party Sri Lanka parliamentary group.
My Lords, we are studying the implications of the ECJ judgment and considering appropriate next steps. The UK is committed to maintaining an EU listing. The Court's decision was based on fundamental procedural grounds. However, the Court rejected the LTTE's arguments that they could not be listed as a terrorist organisation because of their involvement in an internal armed conflict. The UK condemns the Tamil Tigers as a brutal terror organisation, and they remain proscribed under UK law.
Lords, President Rajapaksa has called an early presidential election for the 8th of January next. Last week there were defections by senior ministers from the government, including Mr Sirisena, who will be the principal opposition candidate. Given the history of such elections in the past, and that reports this weekend suggest Sirisena's first broadcast has been blocked and his bodyguards removed, what does Her Majesty's government believe are the prospects for a free, fair and inclusive election?
My Lords, the British government and others are talking about the best way in which to make sure that there is effective monitoring of the elections, and we will of course be raising such issues with the Sri Lankan government.
Lords, will the government condemn the refusal of the Sri Lankan authorities to grant visas to the
OHCHR team, which was to investigate the atrocities committed in the final stages of the civil war by both the government and the LTTE. And will the comprehensive report of that team, headed by Marty Artizari, nevertheless be published in accordance with the mandate of the team at the 28th session of the Human Rights Council in March 2015?
My Lord, the UK was a sponsor of the resolution of the UN Human Rights Council. We are actively concerned in this issue. We're not at all happy about the refusal of the Sri Lankan authorities to cooperate with the attempts to have an external inquiry because of our concerns that the internal inquiry's recommendations have not yet been.
MP Mangala Samaravira is a character who is famous for levelling criticism on political stages. Here are some of the criticisms that have been levelled from time to time by the unprincipled media head of the UNP.
දන්න අය දන්නවා 1994 මැතිවරණයේදී මෛත්‍රීපාල සිරිසේන මහත්මයා අත් වශයෙන්ම
The people who know about this will know that during the 1994 election, Maithripala Sirisena was not even a member of a main steering committee. At that time, Maithripala Sirisena, who was part of Minister Anura Bandaranaike's faction, had been isolated in the party after Anura Bandaranaike went over to the UNP and only functioned as the organizer of the Polonnaruwa district. I know personally that he was not even nominated for a main election campaign steering committee. It was Ministers Anuruddha Ratwatta, Ratnasiri Wickramanayake, S.B. Disanayake and I that worked with Chandrika Bandaranaike, who was the chief minister at the time, on the campaign steering committee. There was no trust within the party in Maithripala Sirisena because of his past actions. That is why Maithripala Sirisena, who rants away today, was not even given a position in the cabinet after 1994. It is because he was not a key person in the party.
Bracelet දෙනවා රත්තරන් චේන් දෙනවා වයලට් අක්කගේ බුලත් දුබායි එකට යවනවා.
Although he took over the country saying that he would give bracelets and gold chains, send Violet to Dubai and take the farmers' vegetables to Tokyo within 100 days, Ranil Wickramasinghe has joined the history books as the only leader of a government which has been unable to fulfill any of its promises.
මේ ඉතිහාසයේ කමාන්ඩුව හැටියට මේ වෙනකොට රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ ඉතිහාසගත වෙලා ඉවරයි. රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්මයා
Ranil Wickramasinghe has led the people astray today, and he has sold the name of the US President George Bush as well. He sells the names of Lord Buddha, President George Bush and even our names to come into power. No matter what harassment or challenges we face, we will continue with the fight against the corrupt and unvisionary Rajapaksa family rule stronger than ever before.
Rajapaksa Paul Palane
A large number of mothers and women have gathered here today to protest against the rising cost of living brought on by the corruption and wastage of the Rajapaksa family rule. The president, who was elected by us, has gone against our own policies. President Rajapaksa, who said he was only a trustee of the country at the outset, is currently engaged in a dictatorial endeavour to suppress all the democratic institutions in the country.
The Colours Night of the University of Colombo was held last evening.
Chief Minister of the Northwestern Province, Dayasiri Jayasekara, was the chief guest for the event along with guest of honour, General Secretary of the Citizens Front, MP Jayashree Wanga. Among the gathering were Chairman of the University Grants Commission, Professor Shanika Hiriburegama, and the Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Kumara Hiriburegama.
Today in Sri Lanka, the entire population of Sri Lanka is wondering what is going to happen in the parliament. How many crossovers, how the budget going to pass. So most of the people ask me, Today you have this event, and there's an important thing happening in the parliament also. So which place you want to go? But I thought this is the best place than that place. As a university student, when we are studying in the Colombo University also, we've seen during the budget time toppling governments and people crossing to that side and this side, and they take the advantage during the budget time how to topple the government and the opposition to come to power, or opposition is trying to pull people from government, government trying to pull people from opposition. This is a power game. But as for the university student, I am proud, though as a former student, to participate in this event. And I am very happy that Honorable Chief Minister Dayasri Jesar was also here, because we studied together in the University of Colombo.
The university is created for everyone to have an open discussion and not a place to spread a single opinion. Back then we created a standard at the university. When I was coming here, many said Maitri. I also wish to see a calm and collective administration. That is what we always followed. We did not engage in politics that involved clashes. That is a conceptual way of politics. Therefore, I think that today you and I can join that discussion. If we do, I think we can have a cordial discussion, and I'm thankful to all once again.
A number of events added colour to the ceremony. Prizes were awarded to the exceptional performers at the Colours Night by Chief Guest Chief Minister Dayasri Jayasekara and Guest of Honour MP Jayashree Wanga.
Opposition members of the Horana Pradeshia Sabha held a protest today.
The reason for this protest was the passing of the budget of the Pradeshia Sabha without seeking the views of its members. During the protest, the MPs had expressed their objection by burning copies of the budget document.
5 members of the government had agreed with us to defeat the budget. But members of the JVP and the UNP who were afraid about this, along with the 5 government members, quickly passed the budget in an illegal manner because they were afraid of a budget defeat.
I don't think this budget has any problem, and this is not an issue with democracy. And this is not an issue about democracy. Here they are talking about a political incident. These people tried to voice that, but they failed.
3 councillors of the Eastern Provincial Council have decided to step down from the government and act independently after discussions with Minister Rishad Badiuddin last evening. The councillors who defected are Amir Ali, Shibli Farooq and Deputy Chairman of the Council, M. Zubair. The councillors represent the Agila Ilenge Makal Congress, which is led by Minister Rishad Badiuddin.
We reached several important decisions at the meeting held under the auspices of party leader Rishad Badiuddin. As the aspirations of the Muslims were not met following the recent provincial council polls, the 3 of us who represent the Ahila Ilange Makkal Congress decided to act independently in the council. Councillor Amir Ali, Deputy Chairman M. Zubair and I decided to act independently, and we have notified this to the party top tier and obtained approval as well.
Meanwhile, a TNA member of the Seruvilla Pradeshia Sabha joined the UPFA today. Making a special announcement today at the monthly meeting, the member said that he will work towards the victory of President Mahinda Rajapaksa at the presidential polls.
A Sri Lanka Muslim Congress member of the Kalmune Municipal Council has been hospitalized after sustaining injuries in a clash between the municipal councillors today. The altercation occurred at the monthly sitting of the Kalmune Municipal Council today. Deputy Mayor A.L. Abdul Majid, speaking to Newsfirst, said that the SLMC member had been attacked by a UPFA member of the council. He said the altercation had been prompted by a disagreement over a proposal put forward by a UPFA member of the council. The deputy mayor added that the mayor of the Kamune Municipal Council, Nishan Karyappa, is due to lodge a complaint with the police over the incident.
Former UNP Pradesh Sabha member who was critically injured when he was shot at while lighting celebratory fireworks following the announcement of the common candidate underwent neurosurgery at the National Hospital in Colombo today. This was confirmed to News First by the director of the hospital, Dr. Anil Jalsingha. Meanwhile, police media spokesperson SSP Ajit Rohana says they are yet to make any arrests in connection with this incident.
Chamila Ranasinghe was wounded when a group including himself was shot on the 22nd of this month while lighting celebratory fireworks. He is currently undergoing treatment at the intensive care unit of the National Hospital in Colombo and is in critical condition.
We are hoping that they will carry out an impartial investigation into the incident.
We have informed them of the number of the license plate and of the policemen who were there. The police say that they haven't got it.
The attack was also brought up in Parliament yesterday.
This is a base act that was carried out either for money or power. Honourable Speaker, on the 21st, when an unarmed supporter of our party, Chamila Ranasinghe, who is incidentally related to Minister Rohitha, stepped out to celebrate the statement made by your party General Secretary that he was the common candidate, they drove up in a black hybrid Aqua and gunned him down. We went to the Payagala police yesterday and inquired into this from the SSP Kodittuakku in Kalutara. An eyewitness known as Podi Mahathya had given the license plate number of that vehicle to the police. However, Honourable Speaker, yesterday, Ravi Kodittuakku noted that he was not given any such information or the vehicle's number.
You are watching News First, and here's what's coming up later on in the news tonight. Ferguson verdict sparks worst night. Details coming up on the international desk.
A protest was launched in Damula today by big onion farmers who expressed their dissatisfaction of the market prices they receive for their produce. The farmers launched this protest demanding a certified price of 80 rupees for 1 kilogram of big onions. They also demanded a ban on imports of big onions until they have finished selling all their produce. Our correspondent stated that the protest they started around 4 this evening is still ongoing. Due to this, the A9 and the A9-A6 highways were closed off for almost 3 hours and heavy traffic was reported in the area. Meanwhile, at an event held in Colombo today, Minister of Cooperatives and Internal Trade, Johnston Fernando, stated that big onions currently have a fair price in the market. Let's take a listen.
We have given onions a certified price of 60 rupees. Production costs fluctuate between 30 and 40 rupees. As the government, even if the onions sell for 75 to 80 rupees, we won't oppose it. But now the price of onions have gone up to 85 rupees and 90 rupees. We cannot only think about the farmers. We have to also consider the plight of people living in the western province, in regions where cultivation isn't carried out. There has to be a price that can be afforded by everyone. If we consider only the farmers and raise prices to 120 rupees, the people of the nation will not be able to consume big onions.
In more business news, Ajit Nivad Cabral, the governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, says that there will be more mergers and acquisitions in the financial sector which are not engineered by the central bank. He made this statement at a symposium held in Colombo today.
The 2014 Symposium for Directors of Licensed Finance Companies and Specialized Leasing Companies, organised by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, was held in Colombo today. Speaking on progress achieved in the Central Bank's Financial Sector Consolidation Programme, Governor Ajit Niwad Cabral expressed the following views.
I'm told that there are 36 confirmed consolidation plans that have been approved by the Monetary Board, and several other plans that have already been also implemented, 5 of them. Altogether 41 plans have been implemented, and I think we are well on our way to achieve the targets that were set. Consolidating, these are one of the biggest challenges that most of you faced, but I think you have been able to address those very well. But we will have more, because there will be some mergers and acquisitions that will also take place, which are not designed by the central bank, but which are designed by yourselves, and you will need to address those.
Pope Francis arrived at the European Parliament in France today.
Crowds gathered to see the Pope's arrival, with military personnel raising a Vatican City flag alongside the flags of the member states of the European Union. The Pope was met by European lawmakers and presidents of the various parliament groups. Pope Francis signed the European Parliament's guest book known as the Golden Book before he was expected to make an address in the Parliament's main chamber. He then visited the Council of Europe. Speaking in the packed council chamber, Pope Francis expressed these views.
E così oggi abbiamo davanti agli occhi l'immagine di un'Europa ferita.
And so today we are presented with the image of a Europe which is hurt, not only by its many past ordeals, but also by present-day crises, which it no longer seems capable of facing with its former vitality and energy. A Europe which is a bit tired and pessimistic, which feels besieged by events and the winds of change coming from other continents. To Europe, we can put the question, where is your vigor? Where is that idealism which inspired and ennobled your history? Where is your spirit of curiosity and enterprise? Where is your thirst for truth? A thirst which you have until now passionately shared with the world.
Di verità che hai finora comunicato al mondo con passione.
The death of a young man is too much for the Afro-American society in the United States.
Michael Brown, 18 years old, an Afro-American citizen of Ferguson, Missouri, was shot dead by a police officer in August.
Initially, court decided not to judge the white policeman.
The decision created a series of protests. Therefore, the society's frustration is getting out of control, expressed in burning and demolishing grounds. Newsfirst International Desk has more.
It was another black day in the United States of America. 50 years after the official ending of apartheid, Afro-Americans still do not feel equal. Decisions like the one in the Ferguson case is slicing the country, questioning what would be the punishment if the policeman killed a white man. The St. Louis suburb of Ferguson saw a lot of frustration last night. Citizens set fire and demolished buildings, expressing their incomprehension. US President Barack Obama and also Brown's family approaches for peaceful protests, but meet resistance in society. The in-media so-called Ferguson case is not only about a young man shot by police. It excavates the still-felt differences of races lying under the ground of society, cleaving a way to worldwide attention.
Australian batsman Phil Hughes was fighting for his life following emergency surgery today after he was knocked out by a bouncer in an incident which shocked the cricket world.
The 25-year-old, who is pressing for a test recall, crashed to the ground unconscious after the heavy blow to the lower head and was rushed to hospital from the Sydney cricket ground. Television images showed the helmeted Hughes standing dazed before going down face first following the rising delivery from New South Wales bowler Sean Abbott. Reports said he was in an induced coma in the intensive care unit and being treated to relieve pressure on his brain from bleeding. The accident, with Hughes's mother and sister in the stands watching, has sparked an outpouring of support for a player who is well liked and respected in cricketing circles.
The countdown has begun for Christmas with just 25 days left.
We leave you tonight with a look at the world's largest Christmas tree. The tree is 45 meters tall and sports 48,000 lights and illuminated ornaments.
Join us again tomorrow, same time, same place. Till then, take care and good night.